Okay, how y'all doing? I've never done a tutorial before, and if I'm being truthfully honest, this tutorial is more for me, because I was having trouble remembering how to create functioning doors in my upcoming fan game Wild Wonders. And I figured, you know what, maybe someone can benefit from this. Now, this isn't going to be a super in-depth tutorial. I do hope you have some basic knowledge with Clickteam Fusion, but I will try my best to simplify this as easily as I can. Which is why for this tutorial I'm using counters, when in reality I don't really use counters, I use strings. But counters work just as good, so that shouldn't be an issue. And yes, this is technically a sneak peek at Wild Wonders. Here's the chimp. Yeah, there's his jump scare, which we're gonna see at the end. Don't worry about that. So let me go over what I have here. This is all you're gonna need. This tutorial is gonna go over a functioning door, including a power meter, and how to make a functioning jump scare to go with it. Because, you know, why not? So this is the main thing, the door. It has a stopped animation, which is just a black square showing you that the door is open, and a walking animation showing you the door is closed. It is looping eternally for the walking animation. That's important. The chimp is just the monster. He's just there to represent the monster. Next to him we have a monster AI counter, which I'm going to show you right here. Here. Initial value 0, minimum value 0, and for testing purposes, maximum value 5. Same thing with the aggression counter. Just take a look over here. Exact same thing. This is the jump scare animation. It is 25 frames. All that's, you know, whatever. A door button. It says door. It has a stopped animation, which is just a stopped animation. A walking animation where it's red. And a running animation which is looping, and it really doesn't need these extra frames. I just put that there for my own sake. But the running animation is definitely looping. That's also very important. And next to it we have the power meter, which for testing purposes, initial value is 10, minimum value is 0, and maximum value is 10. And I think that's basically it for what we need in the little play area. Let me put this like down here. Shrink that just a bit. There we go. Oh. It's not going to look that low quality in the actual game that I'm making. Don't worry about that. Now, you're going to see this is all grayed out. That's from my reference only. I was messing with this earlier to see how it worked with counters, because I've never used counters in my FNAF fan games. So it was a bit of a learning thing for me. I'm learning with you. And if this video does well, maybe I'll go more in depth about how I do things in my fan games or just games in general. But for sure, definitely, I know in the future I'm going to consult this video because I'm a bit of an idiot. So we're gonna, all of this means nothing right now for you. To start off, the monster is not visible at start. The counters are for, you know, our usage. And the jump scare is also not visible at start. So these two are invisible at the start. Not visible. Okay? Okay. I use comments to separate things, you know, to keep it nice and organized. So we're going to do that here. Insert a comment, monster. Switch that to whatever color you want. It's a monster, so me personally, I'm going to go red. Okay. So every, which is the timer, every blank. This doesn't, am I using yeah, I use calculations, like you just saw. Right, okay. We're going to go R random. Boom. We're gonna go 500, 5,000. We're just gonna leave that right there, and I'm gonna go back here. real quick, it's just counters. The only thing you really need to add is to the door, you go here to values. There's literally one alterable value that I called door state, which is the state of the door. It's at 0, which again represents the door being open. And the number 1 represents the door being closed. So 0, open, 1, closed. I hope I'm making this sound as basic as possible, because I was really struggling with this. And you feel free to modify the code however you wish for your own needs. That's why I'm making this super duper easy. It's like a legit beginner's tutorial. And I'm not the best teacher. So we're gonna go Monster AI first. Right there, that's the counter I showed you earlier. What this does, add 1 to counter, add 1 to counter. So, what that does is every 500th to 5,000th of a second, it's going to add 1 to the monster's AI, which is this number right here, see? Now we do that because that's genuinely random. If I went ahead and did, I don't know, every second, it'd go up by 1 a second, which can work, but that does make it very scripted, which you don't normally want your monster's AI to be insanely scripted like that. Especially if you are making a FNAF fan game where, RNG plays a big role in the night-to-night gameplay. So that's what that's for. That, compare expression to a value. I mean, that's not correct. I'm already fucking up. Compare the counter to a value. I don't really do equal. I always do lower or equal. My dog just woke up and it scared the shit out of me. I always do lower or equal, or greater or equal. It's just a personal thing, it just makes things easier for me. Is it greater? Yeah, greater or equal to 5, because 5 is the max limit I put. You can change that to whatever you want. I'm doing 5 for testing reasons. I'm following my own tutorial to teach you. Isn't that some... That's something. So we go in and test that. When this number hits 5, our monster should show up. Ah, spooky. But, right now he has no actual anything, so he's just gonna stand there looking cute. When he shows up, that's like as if Bonnie were to show up at your left door. So, visible. We're gonna copy paste this. We're gonna make, yeah, okay, I made that number lower. We're gonna make this number lower just so that he attacks kind of quick. This is aggression, yeah. Add 1 to aggression. So, this means when he shows up to your door, it's going to start another counter, which will be this bottom one right here. That will be his aggression counter. So, I just need this to hit the right number so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go, okay. Which, again, for testing reasons, we put that at 5. Now, with that aggression counter, we're pretty much done. That's the entirety of the monster's AI for now. For now. I'll get back to him later. Now we're going to do door. A new event. Where is it? Start a frame. Okay. Remember how I told you about those... Oh, wait. Let me add a comment. Comment. door, set back color to whatever. It's a door. Okay. Now remember I showed you those alterable values. Start a frame, that's gonna be at 0. We're gonna set that door state 0. That way when we actually start, it's gonna stay at 0. Normally it would already be at 0, but when you have a lot of code, it just makes things easier, you know, for me personally. In this instance, it wouldn't really matter, but I'm just kind of going through my whole little thought process when I make my own games. This is a door button, a basic door button. The mouse, user clicks left button. No, wait. The mouse, user clicks on an object. Door button. Oh, wrong one. Insert. Where's my door at? Door state 0. Is it this? Yes. That's the power meter, which, again, like I said earlier, it's right there. I went over this, like, right at the beginning of the video. I just got all this out the way so I wouldn't have to keep flipping back and forth. Make this easy as possible, but there it is again. Initial value 10, minimum 0, maximum 10. Initial value allows it to start off at 10, by the way. See how that's, like, the only number that starts off with, and that it isn't 0. Good lord, can you tell it's midnight and that I'm terrible at teaching? I mean, I did all this myself, so I know what I'm doing, kinda. Okay. Compare the counter to a value greater or equal to 1. What this says is basically, as long as you have 1% power remaining, you will be able to close this door. Which, okay, yeah. Change animation sequence to walking, which again I showed you earlier. That's launch. I don't know why I clicked launch. Animation, change animation sequence, walking. And we set the door state to, I'm just going to copy paste this onto here. 1. Let me see if that does anything here. It closes the door, but you can't open it. Is that all there? Okay. Also the door button. Change that to walking as well. You saw how it flickered red? That's going to be important later. So this allows you to close the door as long as you have 1% power remaining. The next piece of code is going to be door state, which again we'll just copy paste it here. Cancel, copy paste. Switch that to 1. Door state 1 is going to change the animation sequence of the door button. So copy paste that there, or just drag it down like I did. Edit, running, frame, and now it stays red. It doesn't blink red, it stays red. That's going to be important. Without that, we won't be able to open the door. So we're going to copy paste this. Just this, not all of this, just this right here. User clicks the left button on the door button. Paste that there. Insert animation for door button. Which animation is playing? I believe it's running. Yeah. We're going to change the animation of the door button to stopped. Drag that down. Stopped. We're going to go ahead and run that again. Click. Nothing happens because it's not done yet, you goofball. I gotcha. Probably. This little piece of code right here is important. Change animation sequence of the door to stopped. Which, honestly, you could just drag this down. Edit. Stopped. Edit. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. The door now opens and closes. It's not going to affect the animatronic or monster in any way because we didn't set that up yet. But we will right here at the end. Now we're actually going to mess with the power system of the door, which is super simple. Back color to, I don't know, whatever that is, teal. Sure. Copy paste door state equals 1. And again, this is customizable. I'm going to do every 2 seconds that pass a thing of power. A percentage of power is going to go away. So subtract from counter, subtract 1. Now you could also do it super quick to like the point where it's like, I don't know, every 50th of a second, power is just draining. I don't think I did that right. Oh wait, yeah I did. See, it goes down super fast. But like I said, I'm doing 2 seconds, so every 2 seconds it should drop down by 1%. There we go. So you remember how I said, as long as you have 1% of power, you'll be able to close the door. We're going to take that, paste it here, switch that to lower or lower. Lower equal to 0. What this means for us is that when it hits 0, something's going to happen. The power system. When the power meter hits 0, something's going to happen. Which in our case, we want the door to open, and we're screwed. You know, like the original FNAF. So we're going to change the animation sequence to stopped. Drag that down. Change animation sequence stopped. Door state to 0. So, you know, just for testing, I'm going to drop that even lower to just 1 second. So, when we hit 0 power, the door should automatically open without my interference. Just like that. The animatronic would show up. You know, we're not able to close the door by clicking on it. And this would be where a jump scare would play. Which, that's the last part of this all. Jump scare or live. Make that purple just cause it's been so long. Now, remember this? How we started off, this was not visible at the start? We're gonna still go ahead and do start a frame and stop the animation. Because if we don't put that, then the animation for the jump scare is gonna play even if it's not visible. And when the jump scare does play, it will already be like on the last frame and it will just be looking like a still image, which looks awful. I make that mistake 1,000 times and I gotta fix it 1,000 times. It's such a pain and I never learn. Be better than me. Okay? Now what we want is, we want the door state to be 0, and when his aggression hits 5, because that's I keep picking that one, I never even use that one. When the aggression hits 5 and the door is open, he will jump scare us. Start animation. And reappear. I'm gonna test that out right now. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna wait for our friend to show up and for his jump scare to play. Any second now, he's gonna show up. Okay. Now he's here at the door. His aggression is slowly going up. It's gonna hit 5, doors open, and boom! Jump scare. This would be where you put a death condition, like, I don't know, go back to main menu or restart night. Copy paste that. Get rid of these. We're going to change this to 1. That would show you that when the door is closed and his aggression hits 5, something would happen. In this instance, it would be he would leave, which for this little tutorial would simply be him going invisible. His AI his aggression setting back to 0. I put that in the wrong place. Well, this would be 0 too. His AI would also be 0. We're gonna test that. This would basically be like the equivalent of whether or not Bonnie can kill you. So let me explain this. This is Bonnie moving through the cameras. He's at our door. We close the door on him. And boom, Bonnie leaves. He's back on the show stage. Bonnie's moving through the cameras again. We're gonna close our door early. Bonnie's still waiting to kill us. We have no more power. Bonnie screams in your face. Boom. That is the easiest way I can explain to myself of how to set up basic monster AI, a basic door system, a basic power system, and a basic jump scare system. If you are not me, and I've decided to actually upload this to YouTube, I hope you enjoyed this very simple. I really tried my hardest to dumb this down for myself. Hopefully you were able to follow along. Like I said, if this video gets traction, maybe I'll do more. But this is how I do things. This is how my mind works. I don't even use counters. I had to learn counters. Because if I showed you like the MFAs of my games, you would see like there's really no counters in the games. I forgot what I use. I think it's strings. But yeah, and this is also technically a bit of a sneak peek at Wild Wonders. Boom, there you go. Please check that game out. I'm working hard on it. The story's a little bit dark, but I hope it resonates with people. And that being said, I am out. Like, subscribe, share with friends. If you have friends, you ought to have friends. I'm gonna see you all next time. Bye. It is exactly 12:54 a.m. and I want milk.